Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm delighted this morning to be talking all things Kazakhstan, the mysterious country in the east that many people have heard of, but not that many people have visited on a leisure basis. And I'm delighted to have three experts. We have Andrew Fish from Astana, and we have Gulden and Sergey from directly from Kazakhstan, which is very exciting, I think. So let's start with some of the basics. Andrew, Air Astana, how do I get to Kazakhstan? How long does it take, and how much does it cost?
Morning, Graham. Currently we operate up to 4 times weekly, and depending on the winter and summer schedule, direct from London Heathrow to Almaty. It takes approximately 10 hours, and the cost is around about £500 to £550 on a return basis, dependent on the season. We do stop. We have a refueling stop in Akta, which is on the east of the Caspian Sea, and that was because of the Russian-Ukraine war. But that's great because it opens up the whole of the Mangstau region. So literally, for the price of two city stops for the price of one to visit Aktau, Mangistau, as well as Almaty. So it's a great opportunity, and we're calling it a hidden gem still to be discovered.
Excellent. We like hidden gems, especially if we can find them. Sergey, you're going to tell us how we can find them. What is the hidden gem of Kazakhstan? If I went there for, say, 10 days, what could I experience? Where would I go?
Hello, Graham. Great to be here. So Kazakhstan is indeed a hidden gem. Kazakhstan is a destination mostly for people who like adventure and tourism. So if you're into hiking, we have great things to do in Almaty region that Andrew just mentioned. Canyons, hiking trails, mountain lakes, and many other things in between. If you're more into history and Silk Road vibe, that's southern Kazakhstan for you, around the cities of Shymkent and Turkistan. Old Islamic architecture, ruins, archaeological excavations, this kind of thing. And if you're really into adventurous tourism and desert safaris, then Western Kazakhstan, the Mangistau region around Caspian Sea, offers great jeep safaris, should you be into that kind of thing. All in all, I would say that for a person who comes to Kazakhstan for the first time, for 10 days or so, visiting Almaty region in southern Kazakhstan are going to be the best choices. Almaty region offers a selection of national parks, mostly for those who love nature. We mostly offer that as jeep tours with comfortable vehicles. You get to see great natural sights, and you get to explore majestic landscapes of Kazakhstan. And then southern Kazakhstan, as I said, is for those who would like to see ancient Islamic mausoleums and immerse themselves into the Silk Road part of the Central Asian history. So I would say these two gems shine and stand out, particularly in Kazakhstan. And of course, last but not the least, a short visit to the capital for a day or two is also going to be worth it. For Astana, our young capital, is a great and modern city with very interesting architecture and a shining example of a city newly developed from scratch.
Excellent. Andrew, you've obviously been there a number of times. What's the food like?
The food's excellent. I mean, there's some great local food. Dish called basmalmak, which is the local national dish. But overall, certainly in Almaty, it's very international. You know, no different from London. You can go to fine dining restaurants, go to Chinese, Indian, loads of Italians. So the food is really, really good. And you know, I just say go and explore, go and taste the food, go and do lots of the adventures that Sergey's just mentioned.
And Sergey, what sort of wildlife could one expect on one of these tours? Or what, you know, mammals, birds? What would one expect to see, or one could hope to see, I should say?
One difficulty with seeing wildlife in Kazakhstan is that we're a huge country with a small population, so the density of wildlife is not great. But there is a number of species. There are antelopes and gazelles, saigak and jayran, respectively. One could see a great variety of birds of prey and other bird species, so bird watching tours have also been quite popular in Kazakhstan for a while. Among other things, one could see a great variety of plants, including some rare species of tulips. And I know groups and people who have come to Kazakhstan to see just that. In general, one could expect wildlife that is mostly corresponded with savanna, prairie, so grassland, grass plains, wildlife, desert wildlife, and semi-arid areas, and as well as you can expect mountain fauna. One thing that does stand out, and an animal that is a symbol for both city of Almaty and part of the country would be the snow leopard. I do not advise meeting a snow leopard in wild nature, but that is something that one could potentially expect to see.
And talking of snow and snow leopards, what sort of climate can one expect? I mean, I know it's a big country and it might, the north of the country may have different climate from the south, but what sort of, is it a temperate climate? I mean, how hot does it get in the capital during the summer, for example?
So, Kazakhstan has what we call harsh continental climate, very hot summers, quite cold winters. So, seeing as how most of the tourist jams on places you want to go to are mostly in southern Kazakhstan, you should most likely expect very warm weather, provided you're not coming in winter. In winter, it might get down to minus 20 degrees Celsius, although the average temperature usually stays about minus 5 to minus 10. As for summers, though, I would say between in May or so, you can expect 27, 30 degrees. And if you're coming in the midst of summer, then you can expect 40 degrees easily.
40 degrees sounds hot, I'll be honest with you.
Yes.
So, Gulden, we've left you out, and that's because you're going to be talking money. What's the sort of cost of all of this? I'm sure we can afford the extortionate fees on Air Astana. Of course we can. But how much would it cost us to get once we get there, accommodation, the tours, and etc.? Well, it's how long's a piece of string, but what's a typical price?
Well, thank you for your question, Johan. Actually, we're talking about the money, so if every single pound that tourist will spend in Kazakhstan is definitely worth it. So I would suggest, especially if you mentioned about 10 days average tour, I would say it's like our signature tour that covers the super modern experience in our capital, the youngest capital of the world. Almaty region for that beautiful wild nature and nomadic experience. And of course, our Greek circuit. So this signature tour will start roughly from £700 as a group rate. And I would strongly advise you are very esteemed guests to contact our representative super reps for further details, because the details are very important. And we as TMC from Kazakhstan and Central Asia provide the tailor-made packages according to your client's desires and expectations.
Okay, well, as I quite rightly identified, how long's a piece of string? But here in the UK, you have representation with super reps. I think that's probably going to be the first port of call for people to get to know a little bit more about Kazakhstan. And as Andrew said right at the beginning, a hidden gem. And if you're a tour operator or travel agent, hidden gems and nature tend to be quite good sellers at the moment, I would think. So I'd like to thank all three of you. I would hope at some point to visit Kazakhstan and see all this for myself, but maybe in the future. But in the meantime, all the very, very best of luck. Andrew, Gulden, Sergey, thanks very much.
Thanks, Graham. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.